Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, and good morning, friends of Patrick Murray. We are just thrilled with 28 days to go with this kind of excitement and enthusiasm here in the 8th Congressional District. David, thank you for your enthusiastic introduction. Well, I felt good about myself just listening to you. That was great, and I appreciate your long-standing leadership here in the 8th District, in Arlington, in the education arena, and you were a perfect choice to be on the State Board of Education, and you're doing a great job heading up our efforts to put college laboratory schools in place to give parents and kids more options and more choices when it comes to educating their young people. So thanks for what you're doing. And thanks to all of you for coming out here. You're in a rare category. Only 1/2% of all Americans ever do what you're doing. And that is come to an event or actually get involved in a campaign. You know, we're fortunate we actually get people to come out to vote. Some of these elections, only 15% or 50% of registered voters show up, but very few actually get involved in a campaign, work the polls, come to a breakfast or a dinner, get on the phones, knock on doors. But you are that rare group that care about democracy. Good to see young people here, Grace and Peter, others skipping school this morning. What a great judgment to invest in Patrick Murray. I'm sure your parents will write you a note on the way there saying you're doing great things. But this is exciting. You get young people, middle-aged, elderly, all care about this campaign, Patrick, and thanks to you for doing that. As David mentioned, we had a lot of support up here. I tell you, for a while, I was so excited about our grassroots effort. I actually ended up with more signs than I did votes in Alexandria, but I really felt good driving through the city during the campaign because it looked so good. But I tell you what, we did a lot better than I expected in the 8th District, thanks to your hard work. We actually won Fairfax County for the first time for a Republican in about 15 years. But there's something happening, even in the great 8th District. And the headwinds of 2 years ago are now tailwinds. So heck, we even got senators from Illinois coming to support us now, Mark. So thank you very much for being. That's good. Please do, early and often. That's the cast the Illinois model. But there's something happening in our country now, and I can tell you what it is, and I can tell you why this race is so competitive for Patrick. In addition to the fact we've got a great candidate, I'll talk about that in just a minute. People look at what's happening in the nation. They understand there's some things that are just not right. When you have a $13.23 trillion national debt, when it's growing at $1.5 trillion a year, and Americans do the math and realize that's $42,000 for every person in this room, probably 4 or 5 times your average credit card debt. And you realize what I know these young people realize, they probably realize it when they graduated from kindergarten, and that is you can't spend more than you've got for any sustained period of time or you go broke. Now everybody understands that except for Patrick's opponent. You just can't spend your way to prosperity, but the level of spending is both unsustainable and immoral, and I think that's one of the reasons that Patrick decided to put his considerable experience to work for this district. He also understands that, and I think most Americans now understand, that our system of federalism is broken. We have folks like his opponent and the liberal Democrats that really do think that one-size-fits-all solutions out of Washington, D.C. is going to be the answer to what ails America. More bailouts, more stimulus, more takeover of the federal health care system, the student loan system, the financial regulatory system, card check, cap and trade. I mean, it has been a dizzying array of federal solutions that have pretty much trampled on the power of the states and the governors to do what's best to them, for them and for their people. Mr. Jefferson, the second governor of Virginia, by the way, said that it's government closest to the people that governs the best. And that's why I think these races this year are so critically important. We have a Congress that is really out of control when it comes to spending and the federal usurpation of what states and localities ought to be doing. We need new ideas. We need new solutions in the country. And whether it's the 8th District or the 10th District of Idaho. I mean, people are getting that message all over the country. When you go about designing a candidate for the 8th District, I don't think you can design somebody better than Patrick. And don't you think it's smart that he's holding this fundraiser right in the view of his new office? You see his new office right over there? I think that's really terrific. But this is really about public service. It's not about public entitlement, which is what some people go up there to do for a lifetime on the Hill. Patrick has been truly been a warrior for the cause of freedom. 24 years in the United States Army, rising to the rank of colonel in any number of important and dangerous positions during that time, deployment to Iraq in 2007, but been to any number of places, Bosnia and Kosovo, and any number of other hotspots to be able to serve his country, being a military attaché representing the United States in any number of important positions around the world. He understands foreign policy. He understands why this is a great nation and how we have to deal with other nations. This is, to me, a critically important attribute for a member of the United States Congress, because our first and foremost duty at every level of government is public safety, national defense. If we're not strong from protecting from our enemies from without, we can't be strong from within. So it is an extraordinary attribute. He raised by a single mom and learned early on a love of freedom, and that it took duty and sacrifice and honor in order to keep this country great. That's our foundations 234 years ago when the Declaration was written. And Patrick decided he was going to do something about that, and decided to enter the military, and had a very, very distinguished career. So now he wants to take those lessons learned as a leader, commanding everything from tank units to other battles, and take that battle to represent the people of the 8th District. And I've come to tell you, this is absolutely a winnable race. Even though the demographics of this district are very much skewed in favor of the other side, this is absolutely a winnable race. If you looked at the headlines of the USA Today this morning, the headline said, GOP voters much more fired up, poll says. Well, we didn't need a poll to tell us that, I don't think. But it's true. The enthusiasm gap that President Obama created in 2008, he's now helping to create it just for our team now in 2010, because we realized that the direction that this country is on is not the right direction for our kids and our grandkids, whether it's spending or federal dominance over the states or a number of other things. We have got to set the fiscal course correct, or we will be a debtor nation and leave our kids, for the first time in American history, a nation that is actually worse off and less secure than our parents handed us. That's a frightening thought. And so it's time for new leadership. It's time for somebody who really understands what's great about America and the proper role between the state and federal government to be in office. I know you've probably looked at some of the polling data here, and what's really important is this: the more people know about Patrick, the better he does. The more people know about his opponent, the worse he does. Now, that should be a pretty good formula for what you need to do the next 28 days, and that is tell everybody you know about Patrick and tell everybody you know about his opponent. And you do that, and these numbers will flip quickly. He's been out there telling that story. He's had a great quarter of raising money. I can tell you that grassroots beats money any day. Now, Jim Moran's got a little bit of money in the bank, about $500,000. Patrick is stepping it up. But your efforts this last 28 days can make a profound difference. Every one of you are leaders. Every one of you can put on that bumper sticker that Dave Foster was talking about. In fact, you want to put the name of your congressman on that bumper sticker just to make sure who you're going to trade in. But you can tell, it's the 10 by 10 by 10 program. You can tell 10 people that you came to a breakfast, you shook Patrick Murray's hand, you know about his background, that he's a great man of both principle and a great man of service, and that he's going to make a great congressman. And you ask them to tell 10 of their friends And pretty soon you just got about 2,000, 3,000 new votes for Patrick. And that's your one breakfast. This is absolutely a winnable race. We don't need to worry about the fact that there may be more people that say that they're Democrats than Republicans. Because I tell you what, the independent voters are the key to this race. And overwhelmingly, those independent voters are very much concerned about jobs and about spending. And it's obvious that this Congress, with Patrick's opponent, are not getting the job done. We're seeing trillions of new spending and no results, and everybody can figure that out, that we are obviously not on the right course for our country. So I'm asking you to redouble your efforts. You're all investors in the campaign. You've paid money to come in here today. Now, if you go home and you say, boy, that Murray's a nice guy, and gee, sure hope he does well, and you don't do anything, we've lost the value of this breakfast. What you need to do is go talk to your friends. Write those postcards. Get on the phone. Put on the bumper sticker. Volunteer one of these beautiful fall Saturdays to go on a walk. You'll still be home in time for all the football games because he's going to start walking early in the morning, 9 to 10 o'clock. These are the things that really will matter. The face-to-face, one-on-one, personal contact with a voter is the most important thing you can do these last 28 days. Because our folks are much more likely to do that and to make a difference at a door than the other side. We know they can't run on their record, so I don't know what their message would be at the door. But it certainly isn't. We put the country in bankruptcy, and unemployment is at a 10% rate. I certainly wouldn't be telling that story. But this is a race that people are going to be surprised with. If you do what you're supposed to do, you do that hard work of freedom, like Patrick's been doing for the last 25 years in service to his country. We're going to have a great result on November 2nd. So I'm glad to be here. It's a privilege to serve as your governor. I never thought a kid from Fairfax County like me would grow up to follow the footsteps of Jefferson and Henry. So I know we surprise people just like you're going to surprise people here in the 8th District. So I appreciate all that you all have done over these months. But now is the time to redouble your efforts. Sleep is vastly overrated. I can promise you that. You can sleep in December. Right now, it's time to get those track shoes on, and get the job done for a great candidate and a great American. Your next Congressman, Patrick Murray.